put a single out before I released this full record. Really great, hilarious musician in town messaged me and said, "Shelby, your new song's giving me the vapors." And I wrote him back and was like, What is that? I don't know what that means, but I think I like it. And he's like, "It's hot, it's hot." And I was like, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Also, that's totally a song.
We've got the vapors, and we can't be saved.
Hi, I'm Shelby Earl, and you're watching Band in Seattle.
Tonight on Band in Seattle, playing songs of her new album, The Man Who Made Himself a Name, Shelby Earl, recorded live at Victory Studios. Band in Seattle, uncover the music that moves you.
He's met you before, but he doesn't recall. He does not recall the lights are in his eyes. He's met you before, but that was in a simpler time.
My name is Shelby Earl. I'm a songwriter from the Great Northwest, and I brought my band with me to play Band in Seattle.
He's a man who's made himself a name. He's known for his beauty, but he doesn't display, not traditionally, how a genius blinds the wise. Say his name in the street, he'll not turn around, will not look to see how the world there holds him tight.
Well, I started at a very young age. All I wanted to do was sing. It was my lifelong dream. I told my parents when I was really small that I was going to be a singer. But the funny part is there was not a whole lot of natural talent to speak of, just a lot of determination and a lot of heart. So I started studying voice with a private coach when I was really young, and I joined a performing group for kids when I was in junior high and did that for many years all through high school.
Cities he keeps to remember, the faces he leaves, weight of his winnings, weight of.
Little known fact, I was a hip hop dancer for a handful of years in Los Angeles, which you wouldn't necessarily assume from my music now. There's not a very direct through line. I was oddly naturally gifted at that, even though all I ever wanted to do was sing. So I had to work harder at the thing I really wanted, and I ended up leaving dance at a point just because I was then spending so much energy on becoming a singer and a songwriter.
He's got a job that pays the bills. Gives her.
When I moved back to Seattle to go to University of Washington, that is where I met people for the first time who were making original music. And I started to get involved in the music community here. As you know, is so alive creatively. People in bands and writing their own songs. So for me personally, songwriting still took a while to come around. My first band, I had a partner in the band who wrote all the songs. She would write them about my life, which was a really interesting model because then I was singing them. For me, writing was a way that I really wanted to grow beyond that. And I'd always been writing poetry. That was something I did in high school, but I didn't play an instrument until much later. I didn't start playing guitar until my late 20s. I mean, we won't discuss how long ago that was, but I was a late bloomer.
He could touch her like she never felt. Oh, but he could leave her like no one else.
started writing by myself on acoustic guitar. My very first record, I had other instrumentalists. Kind of right out of the gate, I wanted to hear the songs fleshed out. And then I've kind of done this each time where I've made the record and then gone, but who's my live band? John Fickus, man, that guy showed up and saved my life this year.
I'm the newest. I've been in the band for like 5 minutes, basically. You know what? Band in Seattle may have been the second show I played with the band.
This summer, I was introduced to John by another mutual friend who's a musician, and we got together once, and I thought, oh man, he showed up and he knew all the songs.
The first rehearsal, as I walked in and like plugged in and started playing, like I learned all the songs. I pretty much had them down. And then as soon as we started playing, like as a musician, I'm most comfortable when I'm playing music. So as soon as like the music started happening, then I was completely like at ease and everything.
Hello, my name is Stephen Baldock. I play the electric bass with the amazing Shelby Earl.
S. Baldy, man. That's a nickname that someone else uses with him, and I'm like, noted. He's another one who just feels like a godsend, because at the beginning of this year, I did not know Steve. Someone said, I know the dude. I know the perfect dude.
And our first performance together without any rehearsal was actually the Art Zone with Nancy Guppy on live TV. So I showed up to the gig with 3 songs prepared, and apparently I played well enough, and she asked me back.
Brush is a secret weapon. This year, I've had multiple other musicians in town go, who is this guy? And why isn't he in all of our bands? And I'm like, hey, back up.
Billy is, I would consider, the foundation of this whole band. Incredible chops on the keyboard. And I believe he's been with Shelby for the longest out of the lot of us.
Get high this way, we will die this way.
Michael Knight. Michael Knight's been with me for some years now. I've gone to shows, watched him in other bands, and he is just like the fiercest, mathy, crazy drummer. He can do so many things, but it's fun to watch him try to pull it back, and he's just like a brother. I love that guy.
Michael Knight, he's just really great to play with. I love a good drummer. I often think that I should have been a drummer. I've always wanted to play drums, and like I always, whenever I get time to sit behind a kit, I do. So maybe I'm just jealous.
Can't be saved, can't be saved, can't be saved.
When we return, Shelby Earl's music will give you the vapors.
Shelby describes Call Her Mercy as her baby-making song.
Real name, by the way. Not a stage name.
I've received your invitation. Oh, what a revelation.
Sea of Glass is a song from the previous record, my album Swift Arrows. I dreamt the chorus. In my dream, the Flaming Lips were singing it. And it was a really cool song. And so I woke up and I quickly, I scribbled down the words and I Googled it and it wasn't there. So I was like, well, it's mine now, I guess. And in my first interview, it was actually with Mark Baumgarten at the Seattle Weekly. He said, so you obviously write about a lot of religious themes. And I was like, what? And he said, well, I mean, most obviously your song Sea of Glass. And again, I'm like, what? And I said, well, I was kind of being cheeky, but it's definitely not religious. And he said, but The chorus is a reference to a passage in the book of Revelations. What? I had no idea.
I'll go swimming in your sea of glass. Yes, I'll go swimming in your sea of glass. Let it hurt, just make it last. Let it hurt, just make it last.
Shelby Earl, huge voice, and it matches her huge personality, and that's one of the things that I found attractive about being in the band in the first place. She's a hard worker, and she's also just a great boss. She takes care of her musicians, and that's one thing that I'm committed to in playing music in Seattle is only playing with people that I enjoy as humans. I'm overjoyed when I get the opportunity to play with a female artist. I listen to probably more female artists than I do male-led bands and solo artists. And I believe that there's real gender inequality in the music business. We need to create an environment where women are given the opportunity and encouraged just like men are. Go Shelby and all of the other female artists out there. Big fan.
I feel around this empty room. My eyes fill up, they're full of you. It's like we never even knew.
Boxing gloves, it's written from the inside of a relationship that's probably ending.
It's great. It's got this this harmony the whole way through. She's singing with Steven, and I honestly kind of like I want to sing it. Maybe we could trade off eventually. We could rock paper scissors before.
I meant it more than you knew. Especially at the beginning. So we go on alone. Yeah, we go on alone.
Shelby Earl. You are
Real name, by the way. Not a stage name. The only flaw is that I am not a country singer, but everyone immediately thinks I'm a country singer because it's such a country. I mean, there's Shelby Lynn, there's Steve Earl, you know.
Never beholden to anyone. Lay your head on my shoulder. Breathe deep.
Call Her Mercy. Shelby describes Call Her Mercy as her baby-making song.
It's one of the big moments that I have where I get to, you know, click on the boost and like lean back and rock a big guitar solo. So I like that one a lot.
Well, I am of the generation of women who are like, oh, babies? Someday. And then there's a point where you're like, what? It's way mega someday. Like, it's past someday. The lyrics are sound really straightforward. Let's have a baby. We'll call her Mercy. And I was just thinking how there's a point where talking about yourself, doing your own thing starts to feel less meaningful and more shallow, and it starts to sound great to focus on someone else. So I was reflecting on that idea through this song, and then we gave it like kind of a saucy R&B feel just for fun, just to make it playful so that it's not too heavy-handed.
So let's have a baby. We'll call her Mercy. Let's have a baby. Fool hearts can beat again. Our fool hearts can beat. Our fool hearts can beat. Our fool hearts can beat. Our fool hearts can beat.
After the break, you'll find out a whole lot more about Shelby Earl.
Oh, I can see it when you look.
Wow, I actually really like your songs. So who wrote them?
Strong Swimmer is Shelby's triumphant song.
I thought it was autobiographical when I first wrote it. My stepmom had just had a traumatic brain injury. I mean, she couldn't talk or walk or eat. She was in the hospital for 6 months. And so I was living with them, helping out a little bit, and I wrote this song, and meanwhile, she's in therapy every day, all day, just trying to learn basics again. She asked about the song I was working on, and I played her a little iPhone recording I had of it. And she and her home care nurse both just burst into tears. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is not about me at all. This is so her song. Well, now we're 3 years out, and the record has come out, and she is talking and walking and eating, and she is just a force. I mean, she's still in therapy, and she's still progressing, but it's now back to being this kind of empowering, you know, I sing it from a much more powerful, triumphant place than from kind of a tragic place. Also, NPR shared this song on Weekend Edition. I woke up that morning to messages from all over the country, people sharing their stories of trauma and healing. So it's become this whole other thing that's been really powerful, and I almost didn't put it on the record. I'm really glad I did.
Know what a strong swimmer I'll be by then. Oh, what a strong swimmer I'll be in the end. Through the push and the pull, never lose my resolve. I'm at a worthy. Tears weigh me down, shed them all to the ground, and start swimming. So what a strong swimmer I am in my head. Oh, what a strong swimmer I'll be in the end. What a strong swimmer I'll be in the end.
For the most part, I've been really lucky in terms of inclusion and, you know, and respect. When I was first starting, John Roderick, who's a local musician, really fantastic musician, he actually produced my first record, and he empowered me. It was mostly like, you don't have to ask permission, Shelby, which women end up doing a lot in life in general, and, you know, John made it clear, like, no, this is your part, you're gonna drive this.
Young man's taste will take a young man's kiss. Young man's name, but beyond it all, I want a young man's face.
One time, though, I had an audience member come up to me and say, wow, I actually really like your songs, so who wrote them? And I said, oh, well, I wrote them. And he was like, oh, wow, cool. He was like completely shocked. And then he said, I actually really liked them. He just could not imagine that he liked my songs and that I wrote them. And it was so clearly about me being a woman. Thankfully, those experiences are few and far between.
Not afraid to die, you're all alone. Not afraid to die, you're all alone. Not afraid to die. Don't you leave me here, don't make me wait. I need to fix my love, got a case of the shakes. So give me your arm, show.
I would like to keep playing with her. Whatever music she's making, I'd like to be a part of it. I would love to get, to tour with the band. That'd be great. I love rolling into town and like getting to the hotel, and like I love the whole experience. I'd love to be on the road every day, all the time.
I think she has the energy and kind of the relatability and obviously the musical chops to make a big stir in the music community. What I would like to see, in part selfishly because I love going on tour and I'd love to tour with this band, but at some point I'd love for Shelby's music to be heard around more broadly around the country.
Well, my goals have stayed pretty much the same throughout this. I don't have big Hollywood drive or aspirations. I'm more driven to make good work and feel respected and make stuff that's meaningful to people. And then the big, just sort of business goal is to keep the operation sustainable. I mean, my songwriter heroes are people still out there doing it, like on the road and still making records regardless of their age, but it's their lifers. I mean, they just want to make the work, and so that's the goal for me.
Tune in next week to uncover more music that moves you on Band in Seattle.